Mr. Stink, Chapter 12, Pongy Pong. Did I dream the whole thing? Thought Chloe as she lay in bed. She was in that place between asleep and awake, that place where you can still remember dreaming. It was 4:48 and now she was beginning to wonder if Mr. Stink even really existed. At dawn, her curiosity got the better of her. Chloe edged down the stairs and tiptoed across the cold wet grass to the shed door. She lingered outside for a moment before opening it. "Ah, there you are," said Mr. Stink. "I'm very hungry this morning. Poached egg, please, if it's not too much trouble. Oh, runny in the middle, sausages, mushrooms, grilled tomatoes, more sausages, baked beans, sausages, bread and butter, brown sauce on the side. Don't forget the sausages. English breakfast tea. And a glass of orange juice, thank you ever so much." Chloe obviously hadn't dreamed the whole thing, but she was beginning to wish that she had. It was all thrillingly, terrifyingly real. "Freshly squeezed orange juice to your liking, sir," she said sarcastically. "Actually, have you got any that's very slightly off? I prefer that. Perhaps that was squeezed a month ago or so?" Just then, Chloe spotted an old dog-eared black and white photograph that Mrs. Stink had placed on the shelf. It showed a beautiful young couple standing proudly next to an immaculate, perfectly rounded Rolls Royce parked in the driveway of a magnificent stately home. "Who's that?" she said, pointing to the photo. "Oh, nobody. Nothing," he stammered. "Just a sentimental old photograph, Miss Chloe. Can I say? No. It's just a foolish little picture. Come on, please, pay it no heed." Mr. Stink was becoming increasingly flustered. He snatched the photograph from the shelf and put it in his pyjama pocket. Chloe was a bit disappointed. The photograph had seemed like another clue to Mr. Stink's past. Like his little silver spoon or the way he bowled that piece of paper in the bin. This one had seemed like the best clue yet, but now Mr. Stink was shooing her out of the shed. "Don't forget the sausages," he said. How on earth did Dad miss him? Thought Chloe as she went into the house. Even if he hadn't seen Mr. Stink in the shed, he surely must have smelled him. Chloe tiptoed into the kitchen and opened the fridge door as quietly as she could. She stared into the fridge and began carefully moving jars of mustard and pickles so they wouldn't clink. She hoped to find some out-of-date orange juice that might appeal to Mr. Stink's taste. "What are you doing?" Chloe startled. It was only Dad. Well, she wasn't expecting to see him up this early. She gathered herself for a moment. "Nothing, Dad. I'm just a bit hungry, that's all." "I know who's in the shed," said Chloe. "I know who's in the shed, Chloe," said Dad. Chloe looked at him, panicked, unable to let alone speak or think. "I opened the shed door last night to see an old tramp snoring next to my lawnmower," Dad said. "The Pong, well, was pongy. It was extremely pongy pong." "I wanted to tell you, honestly I did," said Chloe. "He needs a home, Dad. Mother wants all homeless people driven on the streets." I know, but I'm sorry, Chloe, he can't stay. Your mother will go nuts if she finds out." "Oh, Dad, I'm sorry." "It's okay, love. I'm not going to say anything to your mother. You've kept your promise to me. Not tell anyone about losing my job, haven't you?" "Yeah, of course, good girl," said Dad. "So," said Chloe, glad to have a dad to herself for a while. "Dad, how did your guitar get all burned?" "Your mother put it on the bonfire." "No." "Yep," said Dad sorrowfully. "She wanted me to move on with my life. She was doing me a big favour, I suppose." "A favour? Well, the serpents of doom were never going to make it. I got the job at the car factory and that was that." "But you had an album. You must have been dead famous," said Chloe. "Oh no, we weren't at all," said Dad. "The album only sold 12 copies. 12, said Chloe. "Yeah, and your grandma bought most of those. Hey, we were pretty good though. And one of our singles got into the charts." "What? The top 40? "No. We peaked at 98. "Wow, the top 100, that's pretty good, that is." "No, it isn't," said Dad. "But you're very sweet to say so." He kissed her on the forehead and opened his arms to give her a hug. There's no time for cuddles, said Mother as she strayed into the kitchen. The man from the Times will be here soon. Father, you make the scrambled eggs. Chloe, you can lay the table. Yes, of course, Mother, said Chloe. With at least half of her brain worrying about when Mr. Stink was going to get his breakfast. So, how important is your family to you, Mrs. Crumb? Asked the serious-looking journalist. He wore thick glasses and was really old. In fact, he'd probably been born an old man, plopped out of his mother wearing glasses and a three-piece suit. He was called Mr. Stern, which Chloe thought was pretty fitting. He didn't look like he smiled an awful lot, or indeed ever. Actually, it's pronounced Crome, corrected Mother. No, it's not, said Dad before his wife shot him a look of utter fury. The Crumb family was sitting round the dining room table and not enjoying their posh breakfast. It was all such a lie. They didn't normally sit around the dining table, eating smoked salmon and scrambled eggs. They'd be round the kitchen table eating Rice Krispies or Marmite on toast. Very important, Mr. Stern, said Mother. The most important thing in my life. I don't know what I'd do without my husband, Mr. Crome, my darling daughter, Annabelle, and the other one, what's her name? Chloe. Well, then I ask you this, Mrs. Crome. Is your family more important to you than the future of this country? Oh, that was a toughie. There was a pause during which a civilization could rise and fall. Well, Mr. Stern, Mother said. Yes, Mrs. Crome. Well, Mr. Stern. Yes, Mrs. Crome. At that moment, there was a little rat-a-tat-tat on the window. Excuse me for interrupting, said Mr. Stink with a smile, but please, can I have my breakfast now? See you soon for the next chapter. Chapter 13. Shut your face. Who on earth is he? Said Mr. Stern as Mr. Stink trudged round in his filthy striped pyjamas at the back door. There was silence for a moment. Mother's eyes bulged out of her sockets and Annabelle looked like she was about to shriek or vomit or both. Oh, he's the tramp that lives in our shed, said Chloe. The tramp who lives in our shed, repeated Mother incredulously. She looked at her husband with black fire in her eyes. He gulped. I told you she was hiding something in there, Mother. He wasn't in there when I looked, said Dad. He must have concealed himself behind a towel or something. What a wonderful woman you are, Mrs. Crome, said Mr. Stern. I read all about your policies on the homeless, about driving them off the streets, and I had no idea you meant we should drive them into our homes and let them come and live with us. Well, spluttered Mum, lost for words. I can assure you that I'm going to write an absolutely glowing piece about you now. This will make the front pages. You could be the next Prime Minister. My sausages. Hello, my sausages, said Mr. Stink as he entered the dining room. Excuse me, said Mother, before putting her hand over her mouth in horror at the smell. Forgive me, it's just that I asked your daughter Chloe for some sausages 2 hours ago. My sincerest apologies, but I am getting rather peckish. So, you say I could be the next Prime Minister, Mr. Stern, said Mother. Yes, it's so kind of you, allowing a dirty old smelly tramp like this. I mean, no offence. None taken, said Mr. Stink without hesitation. And smelly old tramp like him to come and live with you. Oh, how could you not be elected as MP now? Mother smiled. In that case, she said, turning to Mr. Stink, how many sausages would you like, my very good friend who lives in my shed and hardly stinks at all? No more than 9, please, replied Mr. Stink. 9 sausages coming right up. With poached eggs, bacon, mushrooms, grilled tomatoes, bread and butter and brown sauce on the side, please. Certainly, my extremely close and beloved friend, came the voice from the kitchen. You smell so rank, I think I'm going to die, said Annabelle. That's not nice, Annabelle, said Mother breezily from the kitchen. Now come and help me in here, darling. There's a good girl. Annabelle ran to the sanctuary of the kitchen. It stinks in here now as well, she said. Shut your face, said Mum. So, tell me, tramp, said Mr. Stern, leaning in towards Mr. Stink before the smell got to him. and he leaned back. Is it just you living in the shed? Yes, just me, and of course my dog, the Duchess. He's got a dog, said Mother anxiously from next door. And how do you find living here? Continued Mr. Stern. Nice, said Mr. Stink, but I warn you, the service is painfully slow.